Are you letting your laziness affect your grades and keep you from your greatness and ultimately your dream of getting to medical school? Let's talk about it, guys. But stop making excuses, stop whining, stop, right? Get at it. No excuses, just dominate. All right, we are live action. Like I said, I'm Dr. Pinesett, and I'm here as always to help you transform and help you become your greatness. It is no excuses, just dominate. That's what we say. And today I want to talk to you guys about an interaction I had on a recent live stream on my YouTube channel where I was interacting and I was talking about one of my students, Katie, who overcame tremendous odds and got into medical school. And what this student Armenian said, I'm going to read what they wrote, but essentially what they were saying was that they've gone through some struggles and they're trying to get my impact or my input on it. And there's a huge lesson here for you guys, so tune in, pay attention, and get better. Armenian said, in response to me saying how much my student overcome to be excellent, and saying that you should never give up on your dream of medical school, said, Dr. Pinesett, I've called many medical schools, and they say, their typo, talk very negatively about my excessive W's, which makes me want to quit and not try for an upward trend. What do you say to that? And my response is what I'll tell you guys right now. Maybe you have a lot of W's. Maybe you have a low GPA. Maybe you've bombed the MCAT. Maybe you, whatever shortcomings you have in the past, you have the ability and moreover the responsibility. If you really want something, if something's really your dream, you must step up to it and you must do better to overcome. And in the case of Armenian, with all these W's and calling medical schools and feeling negative and feeling like you can't get there, feeling like you need to quit because they're telling you got to quit because of all these W's, what I put to Armenian, I put to you today is understand that so often, and it's something my dad told me when I was a kid, he said, you can get away with crimes. People will forgive crimes. You can get out of jail for crimes. When people get crazy sentences or when the public turns on people is when they try to cover up their crime. And he says the cover-up is always worse than the crime. And for you guys as students and as people in premeds who want to get to medical school, you have to understand, when medical schools frown on your record, it's not about the record itself. It's not about your achievements themselves. It's what those achievements, what your performance, what you have done reflects on the person you are. Hear me. The W's in themselves are not the issue. But recurrent, repetitive W's, every term you got a W for your whole career. When medical schools see that, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad student, but the reason it's a big red flag to medical schools is because that means you are someone who does not learn from your past mistakes. You are someone who does not grow. You are someone who has not progressed, and you're someone who is not taking your dreams seriously enough to go beyond lazy thinking. Why? Because if you took 4 classes your first term and you were forced to withdraw from one of them because you couldn't handle the load, why in the world would you sign up again for 4 more classes the next term? And then the next term, and the next term, and keep having the withdrawals? Wouldn't it be better to say, ooh, I tried that. That's too many. Let me do 3. Ooh, I tried that. Let me go down to 2. Oh, you know what? I tried and I still can't do 2 classes. Maybe I need to improve my efficiency as a student. Maybe I need to change where my focus is. Maybe I need to change my life and get into a position where I can be successful with a feasible and acceptable load of classes. It's not about excuses. And it's so funny. I said this, listen, you got to stop that lazy way of thinking and thinking you should be doing the same thing over again, because if you're doing all those W's, that's what you're thinking. And Armenian's response was, Dr. Pinesett, I took care of 2 sick family members for 7 years. It's not because I'm a lazy person. And this really set me into a rage, as you guys know I'm bound to do and prone to do, because what do we always say? No excuses, just dominate. I don't care about your reasons. Those are excuses. I don't care about your obstacles. Those are excuses. We overcome and we dominate. And so this student said that, and I said to him, and I said, hey, I'm angry. It's not about your family members. It's not about caring for them. You having to care for 2 family members is not why you have all those W's. Your inability to recognize that previously that you have to care for 2 family members, you couldn't handle whatever workload it was. And instead of adjusting the workload to account for what you have to do, you persisted bullheadedly and lazy thinking of the status quo to say, I'm just going to keep on trucking, keep on taking these classes, not changing. So how can you not change, not make an adjustment, and expect a different, a better result that would be appealing to medical schools? You guys got to recognize, you can't be lazy, you can't be average getting medical school, you got to be exceptional. How exceptional is it to have W's every term because you were taking care of your family and you didn't step up to the plate? Because I have students who care for family members. I have students who have disability. I have students who have to work. I have students who have families. And we recognize other students, they don't have family to care for. They don't have to have a full-time job. They're what we consider advantaged or privileged. There's nothing wrong with that. But you aren't that. You've got a sick grandma to take care of. You've got this to go and do. So because of that, what do you have to do? Make adjustments, get better, and do things differently than everybody else. And if you can do things differently and take a lighter load, when you get to medical school and you have the great transcript, you'll be able to say, listen, I did all this and I was taking care of 2 sick relatives. And they'll appreciate that. And this reminds me of actually one of my students, and we'll call her Jay, keep her anonymous, but my student Jay, who was a student of color, from a disadvantaged background, who was forced to take care of her dying grandmother who was dying of cancer all through her undergrad and through her graduate school. And despite having to do that, right, when she was with me and I was coaching her, I was like, listen, okay, you're doing this. Hey, you don't worry about them taking all those classes. Take a little bit lighter load. Spread out your extracurriculars more. Take your time and do things over a longer period of time because you have major obligations at home. I don't want you, A, to fall flat in your grades. I don't want you to fall short and be lazy in your extracurriculars. And then most importantly, I want you to feel happy about your situation. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to feel burned out because you have all these obligations. So take that into account and do less so you can do more. And as Jesslyn did this, as Jesslyn, right, worked her way through, Jesslyn ended up getting into a top medical school despite doing things differently. And actually, I would say because she did things differently. So if you guys are out here thinking, oh, well, I got to do it just like everybody else, that's a sheep's mentality. That's a lazy way of thinking. That's the status quo. And my students and myself and what we are about is about doing things differently. Because if you do what others do, you are destined to perpetually be average. And over here, on these parts, we do differently so that we can do domination, guys. We want to dominate, so we have to do it differently. By definition, y'all, we got to be exceptional. We got to push that envelope. We got to do it our way in order to succeed. And it's evidenced by what my students replied to Armenian's comment was, Sabrina said, you got to plan, some more planning and more. Yusuf then said, show how you overcome difficulties and that will stand out. We overcome difficulties, guys. We don't succumb to our difficulties. We don't get overrun. We overcome difficulties. Hear me. Do you guys understand what I'm saying right now to you? Do you get the message? I don't care about what you have to overcome. I care about that you overcome it. I care if you've withdrawn from a class because you could hang with the load. Schools aren't going to get mad at you for having 1 or 2 W's. Where they get mad is when you have W after W after W because you couldn't be realistic and learn from your past W's and make a different path. Come up with a different plan. Get better. Do different. Something to make yourself acceptable. Because if something really matters to you and it's really your dream and you guys always tell me, oh, I gotta be a dream, I gotta be a dream, I gotta be a doctor, I gotta be a doctor, that's my dream. Well, then where are you at? How are you reflecting that dream? How are you letting medical schools know this is I had a dream, right? How are you letting medical schools know that you gotta have it? That you're willing to do whatever it takes to be a great doctor, to care for your patients, to be there for them? How are you letting them know that you're dedicated to that success, to everything that you say you want? How are you showing that want? Because words are cheap, actions are expensive. Get some action, guys. Does everybody understand what I'm saying right here today? Don't worry about your past shortcomings. Instead, do differently, do better, do more so you can be more and get more. That's what we're all about here, guys. No excuses on the past. No, oh, I feel so sad about my past. None of that. We are fired up by our past failures. For me, one of my biggest failures in life was that I knew what it required to get to medical school. I knew I had to be exceptional in the classroom. I knew I needed the good grades. But I allowed myself to feel and think that I was inferior and I couldn't hang on a college campus. And I allowed myself to be a subpar student. And I allowed myself to be in a position where my freshman counselor could tell me, you are not exceptional, you are average. You don't have what it takes to succeed in the sciences and you will never get into medical school. And right, that's hurtful, but that's my fault. Because I put myself in a position to be at the whim of someone else, to have someone tell me that, that's my fault. And I would never, I resigned, I told myself, I will never be spoken to in that way again. I will never be limited by someone else. No, no, no. I'm going to be so great. In fact, not even great, I'm going to be dominant. I'm going to be so dominant that no one can deny me. That no one can ignore this domination. Take this on, guys. No excuses, just dominate and get to your goal. Stop messing around. And if you're ready, right, and you want supportive people around you, you want me in your corner, you want to be informed, you want to be educated about what it takes to succeed and dominate pre-med, and then dominate the application, and then dominate the interview, and then get into medical school, you need to sign up right now for my total pre-med transformation, guys. Get to my website, studenttransformation.com, and get into my coaching program. There's no excuses. I'm on a mission to empower 1 million students by the year 2025. This program is a major vehicle of that, in that I want every pre-med student who truly needs to be a doctor, who's passionate about it, to get there. This is the opportunity. Are you willing to step up to it and get in, guys? You can click below in the box right now and get a discount on that program, the Total Pre-Med Transformation. It's here for you at a discount. Click below and get that, guys. And as always, right, it's no excuses, just dominate. I will see you next time. Let's go. Today is the day, guys. No more excuses, no more complaining. You're going to take your future in your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. Get to my website, studenttransformation.com. I challenge you. What are you going to do today to make your life better? All right, guys. Next time.